The Light and Darkness Saga has been the core of Destiny's storytelling ever since the first game released in 2014. Now, nearly 10 years later, Destiny 2's expansion, The Final Shape, will act as the saga's epic conclusion. Can it rise up to a decade of expectations? Here's everything you need to know about Destiny 2, The Final Shape. After a decade gazing at the sky, The Final Shape will take players into the pale heart of the Traveler for a final showdown with the Witness. Described by Bungie as a realm of infinite possibilities that is born both from the power of light and the memories of darkness, the Pale Heart has been transformed by the Witness after it spent multiple months working on its grand plan to bring about the titular Final Shape, where the universe will essentially be frozen in time, nullifying the Traveler's destructive but also rejuvenative abilities to bring about change. Bungie calls the Pale Heart its first linear destination, a more focused area to explore that will have a clear path for players to follow. Designed to feel both familiar and unsettling, the Pale Heart will become more dangerous the further you venture into it. And once the Final Shape campaign has been completed, new secrets and activities will be available to discover. Oh, and did I mention Cayde 6 is back, along with his original voice actor Nathan Fillion? How exactly is Cayde back from the dead? We'll just have to play to find out. A new story campaign is cool and all, but the Final Shape also includes a new subclass, new enemies, plus new exotics and weapons. Let's start with the subclass, Prismatic. Prismatic is a fusion of both light and darkness powers, and once you have it equipped, you gain a new meter under the familiar superbar that will fill up over time as you deal damage. Bungie views Prismatic as an advanced subclass that combines abilities from all 5 of the existing disciplines and allows for more complex build crafting as it has more fragment slots to experiment with. According to Bungie, a potential Warlock build could see players lock down enemies with a Bleak Watcher turret, send out Strand Threadlings, and then quickly recharge their ability energy once the subclass abilities kicked in. Or for close quarters devastation, Titans can jolt an entire group of enemies, paralyze them, and then finish them off with a flurry of strand-powered melee blows. Once enough light and darkness damage has been dealt, you can become transcendent, unlocking a new grenade ability by fusing your subclasses together. Hunters get Hailfire Spike, a synthesis of solar and stasis. Titans get Electrified Snare, an explosive combination of arc and strand, and Warlocks unleash Freezing Singularity, a miniature black hole fused with stasis and void energy. And with all this new power, who are you going to be beating up this time around? Bungie is pulling out all the stops by finally adding in a brand new darkness enemy faction, something the community has been asking for years. They're called the Dread, and among them are the Subjugators, the Grim, the Husk, the Attendant, and the Weavers. If you thought Tormentors were dangerous in Lightfall, then get ready to sweat when the Subjugators enter the scene. Subjugators come in 2 types, each one wielding a darkness power. Stasis Subjugators can slow, freeze, and shatter you, while the rare Strand Subjugator uses proximity mines, suspension, and projectile attacks to sever your connection to life itself. The Grim are agile bat-like creatures armed with guns, and these flying menaces can use their screeching abilities to suppress your powers. The Husk are melee bruisers who will pursue you even in death, as once defeated, they'll let loose a parasitic Geist to chase you down. Finally, the Attendant and Weavers are stasis and strand wielders, who will use their powers to freeze and pull you across the battlefield, becoming increasingly more dangerous when they have a numbers advantage. And it wouldn't be a Destiny 2 expansion without some new exotics. And for the Final Shape, Bungie plans to enhance player arsenals with new weapon subfamilies and perks. You can get one of these Final Shape exotics right now as part of a pre-order bonus, as an early order of the game and its annual pass unlocks the Fusion Rifle Tessellation. The damage output of this weapon is influenced by your equipped subclass element, allowing players to run in all strand or all stasis build for the first time. It can also consume your grenade to load a single projectile that can create a huge high damage elemental explosion on impact. While Bungie is keeping details on other exotics a secret, the studio did tease a few classics will be returning. The Dragon's Breath exotic rocket launcher, the customizable Castanov exotic auto rifle, and the incredible deadly Red Death are all returning for the final shape. For Guardians looking to push their prismatic builds to an extreme level, new exotic class items will debut in the final shape. Exotic class items are designed to work specifically with the Prismatic subclass, and each one will have 2 random exotic perks inspired by a selection of other exotic armor pieces. Perks from different classes can potentially show up in randomized rolls, allowing for exciting builds like a Warlock Bond with the perks of Apotheosis Veil and Star Eater Scales, or a Titan Mark equipped with parts of Ophidian Aspect and Precious Scars. While we know little about the Final Shape's raid, as Bungie likes to keep raids a surprise, they have confirmed that the Witness themselves will be the final boss. Where most raids in the past tend to be their own separate stories that take place after the expansion's campaign, this raid will be a critical part of the Final Shape's story and its ending. Another interesting detail is that the Final Shape's raid will launch on June 7th, only 3 days after the expansion's release, instead of the typical 2 weeks of past raids. In order to access it, players must beat the first 7 missions of the campaign, as well as the wildcard mission. Once the raid is completed, the first episode will be unlocked. And this brings us to another big change coming with this expansion: the switch from seasonal content releases to episodic ones. Instead of 4 seasons per year, each covering about 10 weeks, the year after the Final Shape will see the periodic release of 3 episodes. Each episode will be broken into 3 acts, with larger chunks of story to go with new weapons and armor, activities, and the other content that seasons have included. According to Bungie, part of this change is a response to feedback from players that, after 4 years, the seasonal approach of weekly short story missions had become stale. Echoes is the first episode, Revenant is the second episode, and Heresy is the third. Destiny 2 The Final Shape launches on June 4th for PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X and S, as well as PC. Pre-orders are available on the digital storefronts for each platform, as well as from Bungie's online store. Easy peasy. Now, the hard part is figuring out which version of the expansion is right for you. First, let's take a look at the Standard Edition. This version of the expansion costs $50 and comes with all Destiny 2 The Final Shape base game content, plus access to the first episode, Echoes. Pre-orders for the Standard Edition include the Exotic Ghost and expansion emblem bonuses. The Final Shape Plus Annual Pass Edition features all Standard Edition content, plus, of course, the Final Shape Annual Pass. This pass includes access to Episode 2 and 3, the Final Shape Dungeon Key, an Exotic Sparrow, the Tessellation Exotic Fusion Rifle, Catalyst, and ornament items. Annual Pass holders will also get a secret stash for each of the 3 Final Shape episode updates. Each secret stash will include 3 Ascendant alloys, 4 Ascendant shards, 1 exotic cipher, 7 upgrade modules, and 1 exotic item, either a ship, ghost, or sparrow. That's quite a bit of stuff, and it can all be yours for $100. If you've got even more money burning a hole in your pocket, the $275 Final Shapes Collector Edition might be for you. This version includes all content and pre-order bonuses in the Annual Pass Edition, plus a bunch of physical and digital collectibles like a replica model of the original Destiny Tower featuring LED lights and sounds, Vanguard Mentor figurines, Vanguard Mission Dossier and Patch, autograph book, code for an exclusive Destiny 2 emblem, and the original soundtrack for Destiny 2 The Final Shape. There is also a $175 version that comes with all of the collectible goodies, but excludes the game code and annual pass. A new story campaign, a new raid, tons of gameplay changes, a shift to episodic content drops, and more. Destiny 2 The Final Shape is coming for all of your remaining free time, and there's really nothing you can do about it. For more on The Final Shape, keep it locked to GameSpot.com.